Yesterday was a very busy news day in the NHL, and amongst all the different things we reported on, there was actually 3 smaller trades that took place amongst NHL teams. We'll go through all those details coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned off the top, we actually had 3 trades take place in the NHL yesterday. Now for the most part, these were minor deals, but at least in a few cases here, I know some of these guys will definitely get a chance to play in the NHL here, either to start the year or before too long as a call-up option for their NHL clubs. So let's dive into the details here. The first deal we have is between the Buffalo Sabres and the Nashville Predators. The Sabres send forward Nick Baptiste over to the Predators in return for minor league defenseman Jack Doherty. If you're not familiar with Jack Doherty, he was a second-round selection of the Predators back in 2014. He has a couple of pro seasons under his belt now. He's played the last 2 years for their American Hockey League affiliate in Milwaukee. So Doherty will now go over to the Buffalo Sabres organization and report to their minor league affiliate. Now, as for Nick Baptiste, he appeared in 33 games last year for the Buffalo Sabres, putting up 4 goals and 2 assists for 6 points. So he does have some NHL experience. To start the year, he will report to the Predators American Hockey League affiliate as well. But he certainly could be an option for call-up here later in the season should they run into any injuries. Obviously, both these guys, for the most part here, are minor leaguers, but could have an impact on these franchises down the road. Now, in another deal, the St. Louis Blues and the Edmonton Oilers hooked up for a small trade, with the Edmonton Oilers trading defenseman Jakub Jerbeck to the St. Louis Blues in return for a conditional draft pick. Now, before this trade was announced, it was looking like Jerbeck might go on waivers, or there was some reports indicating he was being released from his contract. There was kind of some conflicting reports out there. However, the Oilers were able to find a taker for him and ship him off to St. Louis. The St. Louis Blues were in a position where they're likely going to be starting the year a little bit short on the blue line, so they preferred to pick up another defenseman here with NHL experience. Obviously, Jerbeck last year played between the Habs and the Capitals, and then ended up getting a 1-year, $1 million contract with the Oilers. Went into training camp, but he was surpassed by some of their younger defensemen that they decided they would prefer to give the opportunity to, so they're able to ship that contract over the Blues. So I do think he could be a help to the Blues. He's not too bad of a defenseman, doesn't have a ton of experience, but he could certainly be a valuable depth piece for them. I think longer term throughout the year, once everybody's healthy for the Blues, he'll either be like your 7th defenseman that might be in the press box, or he very well may find himself back on waivers and end up in the American Hockey League later. But he is an extra depth piece. Obviously, at this point, with all the changes the Blues have made this year, they are expected to be an improved team, likely make the playoffs. And obviously, you can never have too many healthy defensemen longer term here for hopefully a longer playoff run. So Jerbeck very well could come in handy for the Blues later on in the season. Now, the other trade we saw was the Montreal Canadiens and the Calgary Flames hooking up again. If you don't recall, the Habs and Flames made a minor deal as well just a few weeks back, trading Kirby Reichel for Hunter Shinkaruk as well. They swapped organizations, and they're both ended up in the American Hockey League to start the 18-19 season for their respective clubs here. So the Habs and Flames hook up yet again, with the Flames sending defenseman Brett Kulak over to the Montreal Canadiens. In return, the Habs send defenseman Bernat Valiev as well as Matt Taormina over to the Calgary Flames. If you don't remember as well, Brett Kulak went through an interesting situation with the Flames this offseason. He was a restricted free agent with arbitration rights, and not long before his arbitration hearing was set to take place, the Flames put him through waivers and he went unclaimed. Obviously, the Flames used that as a strategy to kind of reduce the amount that they'd have to end up paying him on a contract. He was awarded a 1-year, one-way deal at $900,000. So obviously, with that being said, he will have to be paid the full $900,000 regardless of where he plays. At this point, it does appear like he will report to the Montreal Canadiens American Hockey League affiliate. But considering the thin blue line of the Montreal Canadiens, I do think Brett Kulak more than likely will get an opportunity to get into some game action here this season. Obviously, due to the fact that Brett Kulak is not waiver exempt, I'll have to be careful when I bring him up and down throughout the year, but he will start the year at the American Hockey League. Overall, though, I do think Brett Kulak had a pretty decent year with the Calgary Flames last year, so I do think he could potentially be a valuable piece to the Habs here for later on this season as well, potentially here longer term as well. I mean, the Habs don't have the deepest, strongest blue line, and he very well could come in handy later in this season as well. You know, all these trades were fairly minor, but there could be some long-term impacts by some of these deals. If you're new to the channel, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button as well. I'd really appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.